Shortly after sunset on Monday, August 28, 1859, the temperature dropped and a brilliant white light appeared in the sky. And it continued for about an hour when the sky began to change colors. Every color of the rainbow glowed bright. The entire sky lit up in the mysterious glow, and it lasted for hours and disappeared at once at 3 a.m. The meteors shot through the night sky, and it resembled the dawn of a new day. It was so bright that birds began chirping and workmen arose for a start of the workday, only to discover it was the middle of the night. And fire whistles and alarms were sounded shortly after the phenomenon first appeared. Now it appeared on the horizon in a cloudy mist. It stretched upwards 100 degrees, and the upper edge of the cloud was white and luminous, and the lower part was dark and thick. It was a brilliant light, with streamers looking like waves or ripples of light, and it lasted for 5 nights in a row. Now, at the same time this was happening, telegraph wires were catching on fire, and communication stopped. It's interesting to note is just 2 weeks before the event, there was a reported partial solar eclipse, and a few before that was a total lunar eclipse. So to the superstitious or faint of heart, I imagine it was a frightful sight. For without warning, in the middle of the night, the sky was glowing and the stars were shooting through the sky. But to the Pennsylvania Rock Oil Company and its agents who were standing knee-deep in oil in Cherry Tree Township, I'm sure it was a stellar confirmation. The abundant supply of rock oil that they had spent 1 year trying to find and had exhausted all their money on and almost gave up on, the oil well had just the day before come in. Yes, the day before the celestial event, the driller Billy Smith, who was hired by Colonel Drake to find oil, found it on August 27, 1859, and it was gushing from the Earth's surface, throwing it up into the air. And it was ushering in a new world and a magical alchemy unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. But who could they tell? With telegraph lines down and catching fire, operators worked for hours to find a fix. According to the Pittsburgh Press, operators pulled the batteries out of the units and connected to the lines via the solar current that was pulsing in the night sky. Apparently, the current varied. It fluctuated, increasing and decreasing, but it was sufficient enough to work the line for the 5-day event. So what was it? What happened in the sky that night? Well, as it turns out, the brilliant light show in the heavens was nothing more than the Northern Lights, an observation later made by a scientist named Carrington. According to his calculations, it was the strongest solar storm ever recorded in history, and it holds that distinction today. Today in the history books, you'll find it known as the Carrington event. Now, ironically, a solar storm with almost the same intensity appeared over the same skies of northwest Pennsylvania in October of 1870, the same year the chairman of the board and his old guard made their way to the area with the formation of the new Standard Oil Company.